straight. And we ran into the tires and the barriers and everything. And it was just a huge pile up, And I remember like I was leaning, it seemed like a go-kart was on top of me, It was just like we were just all piled up. Hey everybody, SC Closer. Friends call me Vic. It's another episode of Vic C Stories and Tall Tales. Yeah, I've been talking about the 1987 Westpac deployment a lot, so I think I'll just kind of continue with some more stories from that. There's a lot of stories from that. I can't tell you all of them. I got to keep some to myself. But I'm going to tell you some of the most fun that we had, at least me, some of the most fun I had. And I look back on it fondly and I laugh about it and all. And when I tell people about it, they think I'm crazy. But when we were in the Philippines, they had a lot of things on the base for you to do in the Philippines. And one of the reasons is, they wanted to encourage you to stay on the base as much as possible. They wanted you to have things to do so you didn't have to go out in town, though there were things to do in town that you couldn't really do on the base if you catch my drift. But, they wanted to keep you on the base as much as possible so you wouldn't get in trouble and you'd be a little safer perhaps. And as I have said in other episodes, the Navy, they encouraged us to go out and blow off steam, as they said, and have a good time and drink and everything, and just to have fun. And they encouraged it, and so we didn't need a lot of encouragement because we were young, and so we went out. And I remember there's a few of us from my shop, a bunch of us from the department. I think we had some machinist mates and some BTs. I know some of my friends are probably watching this, some of my Navy friends. I'm in contact with a lot of them. And, if you were there for this, send me a message and let me know so we can laugh about it, because this is hilarious. But we went over to this little place called the Spanish Gate. It was there on the base. I guess it was built near a little area where Spanish used to have some fort or something, and there was some remnants of that over there, and they just called it the Spanish Gate. And they sold food and they sold beer, and it seemed like they had video games and pinball machines. And I know one time they had some of these little nickel slot machines over there too. That could be another story. I won money off of those. But in any event, we went over there and we were eating. I don't remember what we were eating. We're probably eating cheeseburger and pizzas and stuff, and we were drinking beer. We drank a lot of beer while we were over there. I think we were drinking Budweiser. But we could have been drinking San Miguel. That's what they had out in town. I swear I think we were drinking Budweiser. But anyway, we were getting pretty toasty, over there. And we drank all this beer and stuff. So when we got done, we headed straight to the go-kart track. They had a go-kart track on the base, okay? And it was a cool little track. And, we went over there and we'd been drinking. So we were like pretty much, just toasted. And we go over there to race go-karts. All right. And the guys that were running the track, they were Filipino nationals. They worked there on the base and everything. They knew we were pretty much toasted, and they got a kick out of it too. They thought it was funny watching us. And we got on those go-karts and they didn't take off real fast, but they would build up speed, And so it took skill, they weren't to outrace other people, but they did get up a little bit of speed once you got going. And we'd be out there racing those things around and stuff, and we had some horrendous crashes because we'd been drinking. And we would crash, and the guys would, working out there, they'd come out there and start pulling us apart, and we'd all be laughing and just carrying on. It was like, we just thought it was just so funny, And then we got going again, and we were just racing race after race, and sometimes we'd switch off, because they only had so many go-karts, I think, I can't remember. And I remember where I was out there racing this one time, and I was like, I think I was like third place or something, and I was coming down this back stretch, and I was going as hard as I could go, It was a long straightaway, and we were all just going real hard, and it must have been like 8 of us or So maybe, at least 8 of us out there at a time. And it started raining like it does in the Philippines often. It'd just start raining in the middle of the afternoon. The sun still be out and stuff, but it's raining. So it starts raining, And these little go-karts had slick tires on them. And we're going down this back stretch, and we're coming into this 180-degree hairpin turn. And it starts raining on us, and the track's getting wet as we're going down there. And, we hit the brakes and trying to make that turn, and everybody just went straight. And we ran into the tires and the barriers and everything. And it was just a huge pile up, And I remember, I was leaning. It seemed like a go-kart was on top of me, It was just like we were just all piled up. And, you heard the Filipino guys running over there like, you okay, you okay? And we were just laughing and carrying on. And it was like, man, this is so much fun, And it's just, I just remember that. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I said that was some of the most fun we ever had. It's stupid, but it was fun.